Welcome one and all to another amazing night here in Tranquility.
We absolutely are in for a treat of a match here tonight, no question about it.
And the grenades from Pomku eliminate everybody on the field.
Now I'm between something as well. It's going to be a fly dead with Death Blossom, and it's going to be huge. Fighting three.
The double kill with the Bastion ulti? Alright, I see you guys.
For B-Well, look to find a stick there, finds the stick, they find two with it!
Those who find the picks will save the fights, and they don't really need to save what they've already won.
And Cam with the four-man punch off the map!
Experience tranquility.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and welcome back to the last week of the normal season for Tranquility. My name is Merf. I'm joined by Karma, and we are bringing you the Battle of the Gods. Yggdrasil versus the Olympus. Ragnarok Thor versus Poseidon.
Yeah, two teams that very different paths. Since the event week, Ragnarok Thor on a 2-0 streak, whereas Poseidon 0-2 since that break. Some playoff implications today. I don't believe there's really a lot, but still, you don't want to go into playoffs being on an 0-2 losing streak and going 0-3. That's even worse. And I think they want to try to flip that switch versus Poseidon, get that winning streak, start rolling, so that in time when they get to the playoffs, they got that winning ways already.
Yeah, absolutely. Want to be turning this story around and really want to be building up that momentum, even whenever you really take a look at it, into the playoffs as well. Like you said, you don't want to go into the season or into the end of the playoffs, 0-3. You really want to get that fire into the belly. You really want to get that up and rolling and not have a losing streak mentality whenever you go into the playoffs. Now, granted, for some teams, that can be what sort of lights the fire under their butts and gets them into shape. So we could be seeing a sort of comeback here from side of Poseidon, but Ragnarok Thor definitely looking like the favorites to be seen.
Yeah, they really are. Their strongest is just rush. I was able to talk with Thor, who unfortunately this team is not named after, but he's the GM for the team. I was talking to him and he's like, "Hey, what's your favorite comp/play style?" He's like, "I just play Rhine. That's all I do. I just play Rhine.
I love it.
I go forward. I have a big hammer. I just swing." I'm like, "Hey, that's all you got to do if you have fun. You play Reinhardt, one of the, in my opinion, probably one of the most fun characters in this game. There's been a lot of changes since the past time that I haven't been casting in the past, 3 months, I believe. So I'm excited to come back, watch it, and have some fun with it again.
Yeah, so in the previous weeks, Reinhardt has been a sort of, I would give it a B+ tank decision. Not really bad in the wrong hands, but if not executed properly, can be sort of danced upon. Now, with the new Sombra rework in the previous weeks, with the new patch rollout, if that Sombra is able to focus on that Reinhardt, it can become incredibly difficult to play. As a Reinhardt main myself, I feel like I have somewhat of a decent stance on this particular point, as we're going to be heading into Busan for our first map. But we're going to be seeing exactly how, if it is executed at all, from the side of Poseidon, taking advantage of that Sombra rework, really focusing down that tank and making it much harder to play.
Yeah, they really are, and especially too heading into Busan, you really have one key Reinhardt map, which is Mecha Base. That's the one where you're normally going to see the brawl, Rhine v Rhine, something like that. Especially with the nerfs to Orisa too, we could be seeing that Rhine v Rhine rather than Rhine v Orisa, Orisa v Orisa, stuff like that. Ramatra even as well, we could be seeing. But it's like really with like the other two, especially with Downtown, not the drum, but the other one, it's a lot more dive centric. Which, talking with Poseidon as well, they've been working on their dive and they've been having a lot more success with it a little bit. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see that. And then with drum, it's sort of like anything can really happen on that map because of how wide open it is. You can run the rush, you can run the brawl, you can run the even sort of the semi-dive ball comp as well if you want to run it that way.
Yeah, and definitely for sure, what we've been seeing more recently, I feel like, is going to be that Orisa, who has, thanks to the ability to just ignore all CC, has been an incredibly high mainstay while also outputting a ton of damage. So it'll be interesting to see. We'll get to see what these two teams are pulling out here in about 5 seconds. And as you mentioned, we are here on Mecha Base, so could be seeing that Reinhardt coming nice and strong. Foxaro, on that Sombra, on that brand new Sombra, could be making things difficult for Thor Craft.
Yeah, it really could, and especially going back to Ragnarok Thor, like Thor said, hey, I'm going to play Reinhardt, and we see a standard sort of Ryan brawl. I wouldn't be surprised if Havlar decides to switch off of the Lifeweaver onto the Lucio. But on the side of Poseidon, they have a little bit more of a Junker Queen sort of get in your face fast, try to go after the back line. That's exactly what we see from Ragnarok Thor, just making that switch to go full-on brawl this time rather than having the Lifeweaver instead.
Yeah, and they swap off the Sombra, which I find an interesting choice. Now, I feel like Ragnarok Thor have a little bit of a composition advantage here. As long as the backline from Thor doesn't get picked off with the JQ knives, they can sort of rush in. They have a little bit more sustain, I think. Poseidon's really good at disengaging here, so we're going to be seeing if they're able to do so. But look at that very nice sort of stalwart hold here for that Ragnarok Thor. They're getting in close, they're getting in deep, and they're able to take down Pinecone without too much trouble. Merf does go down as well. Foxtrot is going to pick into the backline, but there's the pin come through, and that's going to be the first fight win. Very cleanly won inside of Ragnarok 4.
Yeah, this is very much a clash of different sort of play styles. Ragnarok Thor, they want to go fast, they're able to block off their areas with Boss Face's Maywall. Whereas Poseidon, they want to go deep and they want to go fast as soon as they can into their backline to try to pick off their supports. And you saw it right there, Boss Face.
Yeah, look at this split here now. The wall does come through, but I don't think it really, splits the team in half to sort of save Thorcraft from any additional pressure. When the flank comes in from the side of Poseidon, Pinewood actually would pick up Boss Face, and the damage is coming through here from the Reaper as Pit continues to take down the Immortality Field. GG, they're going to pick up Merf and Pit does fall as well. So despite the initial picks there for the side of Poseidon, it looks like Ragnarok is going to continue to have that sustain and be able to outlive the damage that Poseidon can provide, getting up to 40% here.
Yeah, even though Boss Face did die first, I think after Ragnarok Thor, that's the one person that you're like, hey, we're fine with you diving first. As much as you are helpful with our team, we want that damage with the Reaper, and we want our sustain with the Baptiste and the Lucio to try to make sure we can move around fast. And now Ragnarok Thor has 4 ults to Poseidon. They don't even have 1. The closest is Foxard with the Genji Blade, which is immediately disqualified by basically half of Ragnarok.
Yeah, that time period is going to be immediately as soon as the play drops. Granted, the Ant Matrix is there. The Shatter comes through. The freeze as well. Just a lot of Q presses there. The Anti-Nade is able to pick up. Oh, sorry, that was a Carnage that came through, but it is not going to be enough. That Reinhardt hammer, absolutely brutal in a small room, picks up forward, and you know, big German man, big Reinhardt hammer, go swing.
Yeah, it really. And then now Ragnarok Thor, they have the momentum there. It's about last fight here. They do have Reaper ult and Window, whereas Poseidon, they're the closest is they beat right now as well as Pips overclock, so they're going to have to try to make something to work with it.
Look at the backline pressure. Oh my goodness, already. Now, it does put Thorcraft in quite a perilous situation. The Immortality Field is available to them. GG's able to pick up with the Death Blossom on the Pip, and the damage is too strong. Seraph does eventually fall as well. That's a very nice fire strike on the Merf. This is going to be the last fight. What an absolute clean sweep here for the side of Thor Ragnarok. Very, very, admirable attempt there from the side of Poseidon, but they just never had the resources or the pressure required to sort of bust this composition open from Thor.
Yeah, and of course, too, if you're Poseidon, this is the one part of the map that you did not want them to play. You did not want to get into Mecha Base first. You wanted to go probably to Drummer downtown, and unfortunately, hey, they immediately got a 1-0 start because they got to Mecha Base first. So now Poseidon, they're like, hey, we're on the back foot. We know what they're going to like to run. Let's see if we change it up, and I wouldn't be surprised if we do see some changes from the side of Poseidon.
Yeah, I mean, they're staying pretty solid into it, going about 10 seconds into this spot room. Then Thor's actually might be pulling out the Symmetra just to get the point quicker. Or maybe keeping it to sort of lock that point down. We'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, I find it very difficult for Poseidon's comp to really ever find the damage available. You have the Lucio to disengage. You have the Bat with the Immortality Field, which can very well negate a lot of damage Poseidon's able to pull out. And then Reaper's got the self-sustain as well. It's just really hard for them to sort of find the pick. Now, granted, they've backed Thorcraft into a corner. And the Sombra is out now for the side of Thor as well, who might be looking to focus on the backline, gets a nice hack on the Pip, not able to find them though, and just poke coming in now. Neither team is finding anything.
Yeah, with the Sombra, to be able to hack that Mega to the right, that Thorcraft almost falls immediately, but luckily the lamp, excuse me, went for Kandra. But just being able to hack that Mega and be able to control that drum room is exactly what Ragnarok Thor needs to do.
Yeah, and look at them. I mean, absolutely. A nice dive on there from the side of Foxer, but it's not going to be enough. He falls into the Reinhardt hammer, and even though Thorcraft does get down low, doesn't eventually get found, this could be what sort of opens this without that Reinhardt really being the cornerstone of this defense. And there's another pick there for the Ragnarok Thor, though. Despite the Reinhardt falling, there was just too many picks off already, and this is already a fight loss here. We're looking at 30% climbing.
Yeah, 30% climbing. I believe Reaper is the closest for Ragnarok Thor at like 67%. And one thing as well too, with the Sombra change, you can't have a translocator across the map and just keep health back. You have to sort of be near your team so that way you can have a play, as they luckily are able to get out for the side of boss face. But now you sort of know, hey, Poseidon's going over here. We got to rotate our team around to make sure that they don't get escaped.
Yep, and they sure are. They're rotating way far right, and look at this absolute nice collapse after that. So Ragnarok using it. Lucius just getting to the back line. That's already close towards down. Pinecone eventually falls. Pip is able to pick up one, but I mean, what are you gonna do? It's a 4v1. You do eventually fall again, and Ragnarok Thor, just doing beautiful job just following through on Poseidon's rotations, not letting them get into position at all.
Yeah, it really is, making sure Thorcraft is in the right spot to get it. They do have almost four ultimates online. That's Poseidon's one, maybe two, close with the Genji ultimate. But hey, if you're Ragnarok Thor, you're willing to take this.
Yeah, there's the Ant Matrix and the Overclock going to be outputting a lot of damage, and a very nice headshot there on the boss face. The Sombra is down after the Shadow does come through. It's able to pick up one, might be able to pick up two. The Blossom to follow it up is able to pick up one as well. And that's once again this Reinhardt going absolutely insane. Pinecone the last one standing. It looks like a possible fight win there for Poseidon. Poseidon just gets absolutely turned on its head with the absolute abundance of resources there from Thor. That's going to be map one out and dusted. Ragnarok Thor taking the first map.
Yeah, it was basically just a Q fight right there at the very end, but hey, Thorcraft is able to find three, getting a Pip's overclock with the Sojourn, just being able to clean it up. I believe this is going to be the player right here. Oh, it's actually the player beforehand, but yeah. This was just saying, hey, we got all our outfits, we're just want to use it right in this corner. We don't want to make sure that you guys get a percentage. That's exactly what they were able to do. Poseidon barely even touched the point at all throughout both sections of Busan.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It was quite brutal. I expect going into the second map, with it being Poseidon's pick, no, either they're going to pick a map that just heavily disfavors the Reinhardt composition, the Reinhardt rush, or they go with a complete comp swap, because Ragnarok Thor just looked that strong. I mean, you don't get very many dominant performances like that on the opening map, and I think Ragnarok Thor have proven that if they are able to play their comfort pick, they are going to run away with this series.
Yeah, and looking too at the map pool for the second half for the stage 2, they have Midtown. I believe it's hybrid next, so it is Midtown, Blizzard World, and New Bonnie. One of those maps is not like the other. World. And it looks like we're going to Blizzard World instead. So I would have been surprised I would not have been surprised if we got a New Bonnie instead. Do that dive. It's very difficult for a sort of brawl heavy team. And I mean, like, hey, this also can be one of those things where it's like, hey, Poseidon, they've been practicing different stuff, trying to stay positive. Maybe they have a secret weapon on Blizzard World that they want to come out with. But I wouldn't be surprised if Thor is like, hey, guess what? We didn't give up a single percentage. Let's just keep running what we've been running and something that we've been good at.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think New Bonnie would have been the obvious choice. No, I'm not saying that playing Blizzard World is a bad idea. I'm sure Poseidon has their own strategies, possibly going with a poke. The Ashe can be quite oppressive to a rush style, and so can other, like a Hanzo is really good right now. So maybe that's what Poseidon's going for. Maybe they're going for this sort of strategy swap. Maybe they're going for a different idea, which wouldn't surprise me considering the performance that Ragnarok Thor was able to pull out on that first map either. And I don't expect Ragnarok Thor to be swapping anything at all. Why would you? Why would you fix something that's not broken?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see any switches. I would say the only one that would see switch would be maybe some players, because Nat is in now instead of Boss Face. So that's an interesting pick. It's just trying to switch up some stuff. But it's one of those things too for that.
Wow.
You just got to get used to it. But let's see. Let's look at it. Oh, actually a whole different top swatch for Ragnarok Thor, playing the ball now instead, and Poseidon going with that poke. At least for right now, since they are attacking first.
Yeah, and this is very interesting. We've assumed that because of the amount of confidence that Ragnarok Thor showed on that Reinhardt composition, they'd be like the London Spitfire and just wouldn't ever hop off of it. You know what I'm saying? They proved themselves to be dominant, but maybe they've played against this sort of oppressive poke that Poseidon's got going on with this Hanzo, Ashe, Sigma. It would be really difficult to play that Reinhardt rush trying to get to this choke point. So I do understand it, but they're going to be playing defense with this ball dive.
Yeah, also it does work too, especially just being able to get combos with your nade and just trying to get one clips on people, and especially trying to split people off in poke, like you see right now with Thorcraft trying to go in the backline, trying to make people focus him instead of trying to focus him and explode the roster.
Yeah, look at the damage. It is kind of working, but the backline pressure is still there. Pip does eventually fall, though, not really having support required as it's going to be GG on the Tracer, putting out enough pressure as well. Look at the nice anti-nade there. The Immortality's going to keep the backline alive, but it's just not enough. That floats supports down, and already Ragnarok Thor going to be cleaning this fight up nice and easy before Poseidon have a chance to push forward.
Yeah, this is going to be one of those things where it's like playing a poke style against a ball comp. It's going to be rough. You got to make sure your rotations are on point, as we see switch could come out already with Pip switching off of the Cassidy onto the cat, or switching off of the Hanzo onto the Cassidy. I cannot talk today. And Sephra switching off of the Alari onto the Brigitte to try to deal with the backline pressure of GG and Thorcraft.
I do like these swaps. Pip has the Hinder Nade, and Seraph's going to have that Brig Boop, the classic boop that's going to keep the ball away from the backline. So if these cooldowns can land, and if they are used to effect, there it is, the Hinder Nade going to be slowing down the ball at least. But that is going to be Merf going down already to the enemy Ashe, and that's your Baptiste. That's a majority of your healing. Foxtrot's going to be able to pick up one. And actually, Poseidon's going to be turning this one around. 2 picks up. It is 3v3 on the point right now, and Pinecone on that Sigma, an absolute dangerous force. One of the most deadly tanks in the game. Pinecone gets down, gets anti-needed, and the support is there, but Zephyrus going to be able to pick up the enemy Brig. And this is going to be Poseidon capturing at least a single tick. The ball is there to stall.
Yeah, it looks like they're there to stall as GG comes and cleans up Merf and gets the vault. but they do find 2-3 with the Bob, and yeah, Ragnarok Thor is able to turn it right before they get to the second point. Nat was there just in time to get to make sure, hey, we're there, we got the Bob popped off. And now if you're Thor, you do switch off of the Brigitte onto the Kiriko. But hey, you're making Poseidon have these swaps, and guess what? They don't really have all that many ultimates, even though you've just used some.
Yeah, they've got 3 coming into this next one. Poseidon does. They've got the High Noon, the Rally, and the Gravitic Flux, all of which could be deadly, especially for this backline from Ragnarok Thor. And nice rotation up here, all the way on the far right, without taking too much pressure, so they're going to be able to get close to point without all too much damage and focus fire coming into them. Rally available too will keep the backline alive. The anti-nade does eventually fall up on Pinecone. But look at the slow crawl here. Poseidon taking their time very wisely.
Yeah, they really are. Just making sure, hey, we want to keep grouped up. We want to stay as 5 no matter what. As soon as we see the ball, we're all going to turn around and look at him, make sure he can't just separate us. And that's exactly what Poseidon needs to do, wants to do, is pop this rally.
Yeah, Rally comes in, kind of offensively, but also not necessarily. The fight hadn't really started, and Thorcraft's actually going to be able to pick up Merf with that minefield. I think he got moved back in. Pip is going to pick up a Halvar to make up for it, but it is still a 3v4 on the point. Pinecone dreams that went out once again, and this is just trade left, right, front, and center. The Ana even tried to get in on the DPS game, and once again, those minefields being absolutely huge there for the Ragnarok Thor. Pick up 2. And that is just unfortunate. It was a very smart push there from the side of Poseidon, but they only have 20 seconds remaining, and they have to get some sort of team fight win in.
Yeah, you really do. Like, that was good rotation from the side of Poseidon, but you just had to mark Thorcraft's ball the entire time, making sure he can't get behind you and use the mines. That's exactly what happened, and Merf was the first one to fall. As we see Pinecone switch to Zarya to try to touch it this last second, but I don't think they'll be able to.
Yeah, no, that's gonna be it. That's a 1-point hold, almost 2 ticks there, for the side of Thor Ragnarok, and it looked pretty good for Poseidon. Like, they weren't playing terribly, but at the same time, Ragnarok Thor just got more use out of their ultimates and out of their resources. Like the minefield there from Thorcraft, absolutely covering the attack that Poseidon had tried to lay on to the point, really taking back any pressure that Poseidon was able to lay down and saving what I would even call it saving the defense, really.
Yeah, exactly. I was surprised that Poseidon, especially Pinecone, was sort of sticking with this sort of poke comp as soon as they saw the ball come out. I would not have been surprised if we saw them switch to like an Orisa or something like that to try to deal with the ball, make sure, hey, nobody can come behind us. Just, you have your javelin spin, you have the spear to try to be able to just make sure that, hey, nobody can touch our backline. Whereas now Poseidon, they're sticking with that poke, sticking with that. Pip is going off of the Cassidy onto the Torb instead, as Seth is going back onto the Illari. Whereas inside of Ragnarok Thor, they're switching up. They're going to the Winston Kiriko rush that we saw way back basically a year ago at this point.
This is an interesting pick, I think, from the side of Ragnarok Thor. Thorcraft is going to have one heck of a time trying to get on that high ground with a Torbjorn watching and the Sigma there as well. I wish, as a fellow Winston Rhine main, I wish him all the best of luck.
Yeah, it's going to be rough, especially for Ragnarok Thor, but you do have the Sombra there to try to scout and see where they're at first, so that way they can try to get out some information as they use the bubble here to cross.
Yeah, and look at this. They're not even really diving, but they are going to be rotating around with that Lucius Phoebus as well. And you're going to be caught in this small room. The damage is coming through the flank there from the side of GG. He's actually able to pick up Pip, and that's one of the biggest obstacles there for the side of Thorcraft. Now, Nat on point, going to be flanking behind, sort of causing just a little bit of chaos in the backline, going to be hacking that Mega as well. Merf falls once again, and Ragnarok Thor just, unstoppable despite the challenges that they might have faced with the compositions that they chose to ran. They ran it very interestingly. They ran it along the left-hand side, and they've won the fight. They're gonna capture the second point. I don't think there's anybody there who can touch. And that's gonna be the second map swinging their way with, once again, a very clean execution.
Yeah, it really was. Ragnarok Thor just making sure, like, hey, we're not here to play. We're here to get this done over with fast. And Poseidon, it just looks like that their mentality is sort of, I don't want to say their mentality shot, but it's very much so just very rough, as you see Nat getting play the game here at the very end. But it's just one of those things where it's like you got to try to change some stuff up and not be surprised.
Yeah, Poseidon, they've got a big task ahead of them. They've got a really big, I think Ragnarok Thor, have unquestionably looked like the stronger team. Excuse me, I apologize. But they just have their rotations have been better. Their use of cooldowns. Even whenever I really thought that Poseidon might have a composition advantage with running against that Winston, it was still a flank from GG that really opened things up, right? Getting the kill on the Pip, eliminating that Thor, making it so much easier for that Winston to just keep crawling through and opening up that defense really strongly. So I'm really considering what are some potential options here for Poseidon as we really go into map 3.
Yeah, but before we do so, we're going to take a quick 5-minute half. Let the teams talk about it for a bit, and hopefully Poseidon can come back and get a 3-2 at the end of the day.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the last week of the regular season for Tranquility. My name is Merf. I'm joined by Karma, and we are bringing you back to a very strong showing from the side of Ragnarok Thor going into the playoffs. Not going into the playoffs, but going into the last week of the regular season into said playoffs.
Yeah, Ragnarok Thor so far being 2-0 and now up 2-0 against Poseidon, heading into a new map that I've never played before, personally. But Merf, have you played this new map?
So Suravasa, yes, is a very interesting map. This is Flashpoint. So Flashpoint is effectively a set of 3 control points, or I guess it's first to 3 captures on control points, and they're randomly spattered out throughout the map. They get captured quite a bit quicker. I think it's like 60% faster, and so realistically for each point you only get 2, maybe 3 fights. And then that's basically it. So it's just a very short, quick burst game that I think is really fun and can swing one way or the other. Like I said, it's first to 3 point captures. So you could see 3 points straight. You could see us go to a 0.6 and really, or I guess that'd be a 0.5. And really get to see a lot of things here. So one of the few things to keep out for are you don't want to hold on to ultimates for too long because there aren't many points, there aren't going to be many fights, so you want to use them or lose them. And then secondly, in the rotation after the point is captured, to rotate around the map and not get staggered out by the enemy team is a big one as well. Maintaining that 5-man stack, maintaining the push into a point, and getting the fight win is also super important.
Okay, I'm glad that I have you with me, because I have not been able to play this game as much as I've wanted to, and Flashpoint is new to me. I think I've only played it really once on the new Junk City one, but looking at the team comps, we see this Thor going back to their standard, going back to that Rhine Rush with Nat still in, playing the Soldier, and Poseidon going back to what we see in Map 1 on Busan, the Junker Queen comp coming out from the side of Poseidon.
Yeah, and this first point is super interesting. It's got 2 massive walls on the other side and bridges that lead up from underneath. Most teams come in through the corners, but the corners don't give good visibility on the first point. So this is going to be very interesting. I think this plays more into Ragnarok Thor if they're really able to close the distance. And there it is already. They have the point advantage. Poseidon wasn't even able to really get into the point before they found themselves on the back foot. Now, they're staying safe, so they could be able to put out a little bit of damage if Pit does get down low. The Fire Strike is there to continue putting out that pressure, and this is going to be first point capture to them. Any percentage counts.
Yeah, and if you're looking at Ragnarok Thor, they want to try to control these, especially these tight angles here. The May wall, just being able to make sure Poseidon cannot go this way, and now they have to try to find another way to get in. As Ragnarok Thor is like, hey, we want to go a little bit aggressive. We want to say, hey, we're not just going to give you all this space for free. We want to try to take it more and more as time goes up.
Yeah, and realistically, Poseidon, they have to move through like this mainstay, or they could go through the corner, but it's not really a good look for them either way, because you're having to force yourself through a Thorcraft who has been mighty scary, and a May wall, to be frank. As there's Pip off on the side with the overclock beam, looking for any damage they can, but GG been doing such a good job of keeping them in check. Pip never really getting a chance to poke out without getting their head nearly cleaned off. There's the speed boost, there's the absolute rush. It is going to be able to find that piece, and that could be the opening pick here. We're at 72% already though. More Tiny Flip comes up to keep the rest of the tanks alive, and it's just a continued brawl. But it is going to be Thorcraft and his supports that maintain the momentum. They continue to pressure out. Pip does get 1, but it's just too late. Might make that 2, but the Lucio is there to clean it up, and that's going to be 100% captured, and the first point goes to Ragnarok Thor.
Yeah, like you said, Poseidon just waited way too long as we're heading into Garden, I believe, right now. Something that I think is going to be a little bit interesting, especially now Ragnarok Thor, they have 4 ultimates online. Poseidon, their closest is Pip's overclock, something that's very, very tough to use against a very rush brawl heavy team.
Yeah, the Ant Matrix is there. It's going to be locking on this point as well, preferably from main. You'd want it. And there it is. There it goes. It's going to be putting a lot of damage. Will anybody fall? The main wall does come out to basically cut off anyone to escape the charge off to Pine Cone off the map. As Thorcraft continues having a lot of free space to do basically whatever they want. The return Ant Matrix is not going to be fighting anybody. There's Foxguard and Separate both go down. That is going to be it. And holy cow, Ragnarok Thor, they are not slowing down one bit.
No, they're not. I'm surprised Merf used their amplification matrix that late in the fight. You were already down Pinecone. You were already down, I believe, Foxart as well. And you're down 2. Why not hold it? You'll have basically every ultimate coming back. They're at a little bit over 40%. Like, you still have time to use it, but they just ended up popping it right there and was able to get basically no effort, no ability from it.
Ragnarok Thor, they also have the ultimates available to them to really counter anything Poseidon could do. There's the blade. Come on, throws the shatter. Oh my goodness, laid down absolutely clean. What a shatter there from Thorcraft, and it's going to be shutting down the entire push. Ultimates are still expended there, Poseidon does have 3, but I don't think they're going to get the point in time, and that's going to be second point over to Ragnarok Thor.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if Poseidon does not touch, and that's also great from Ragnarok Thor. They did use 2 ultimates there for Poseidon's basically 1, but hey, they still have the sound barrier for Pip's overclock as well as Pinecone's rampage. Something that's going to be very difficult to stay alive with as we head into Temple. Something that's going to be rough for Poseidon, especially now that they have 3 outs, but they're going to be meeting them here before the point even.
Yes, there is the rampage. He gets shut down before he's even able to land it. The sound barrier comes through to absolutely negate it. The damage to GG is going to take out Pinecone. What in the world was that? Poseidon does eventually fall, and that is just, I mean, if you needed a surefire sign that you needed to change something up in this map, in this series, Seraph does eventually fall off the map just to reset, and there it is. There's the comp swap from Poseidon. Realizing that this wasn't going to work, Foxart is down on the bash, which is a perfect pick against this composition as Pinecone swaps to match the Reinhardt.
Yeah, it really is. This is the one thing that you're like, hey, Poseidon, this is your last chance. You gotta switch it. You gotta switch it up. So might as well do it now. You have the Bastion to try to melt. I believe they got nerfed a little bit, but maybe it's a little bit too late as the amplification matrix comes out, and Nat gets one with the overclocked amplification matrix, trying to find another one, and does find up as it's all blue in the kill feed for Ragnarok Thor. Oh no!
A 4-man boop! Are you joking me? The Battle of the Lucio's on point. 50% slamming it. Which Lucio's gonna win? But it looks like it's actually Halvar who's got the advantage here. It's literally just a Lucio 1v1. How do you get a 4-man boop? What am I witnessing? Can his team get back in time to cover him up? The immortality is there if he needs to pull back, but Seraph is extremely low. The Summer is available for him to sort of keep the rest of the team alive, and that is going to be Poseidon capturing the point as Ragnarok Thor do retreat. What did I just witness?
Like, that was just insane. Seth putting the team on their back, and now Ragnarok Thor, they're coming back as the pause comes in. Oh, maybe a
okay.
faulty pause, I guess, maybe?
Accidental pause, perhaps? Okay, we are still paused. Okay, the pause was not an accident. The resumption of the pause was an accident.
Was an accident.
A 4-man boop. I don't blame the pause. I would, if I was the Ragnarok Thor, I'd be wanting to break too. I'd be like, whoa.
Yeah, no.
What just happened?
Yeah, exactly. It was just one of those things that just happens, but it looks like it's a DC on Thor, and that just sucks. Especially something like that, where they do have a big boop. Poseidon gets that momentum swing immediately to automatically have somebody DC on the side of Thor. I don't think it's going to happen much. They are still down 2-0 map 3. They're down 2-0 in the point. Ragnarok Thor, I believe, has just over 70% for point 3 to try to win the map and win the match today. But it's one of those things too, where it's like you look at it and it could be a turning point. But again, Poseidon, hey, they're gonna take this as a momentum swing. They got that 4-man boop. Okay, now you got beat. Now you just gotta get those ultimates online faster. It's still gonna be rough though for the side of Poseidon.
And that's really like whenever we got into the series, right? We talked about the fact that Poseidon was on a 0-2 losing streak. What more of a morale boost do you need than your Lucio popping off and killing 4 with a single cooldown usage? I mean, that doesn't happen. That is like astronomical chances of possibly ever happening, and it happened in this series. If I was Poseidon, I'm rallied. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to push this one forward and really take it to Thor, especially considering the disconnect. Could this be fate, actually? Speaking of which, could this be what sort of snowballs into a potential Poseidon comeback?
I mean, I think it really could, especially coming into Flashpoint. Like you said, it's a very, very fast game mode. If Poseidon's able to get this and start that sweep, it's gonna have to start now. You're basically less than 25% away from losing everything and heading 0-3, maybe into the playoffs, maybe into a knockout round where it's going to be a lot rougher for you. Whereas Ragnarok Thor, hey, they're on a winning streak. They're everything's held high. They just got to keep it down, and if they do end up winning this point, hey, okay, we just got to get ready for this next one. They made the swaps. Now we just got to make our swaps back. Maybe change to an Orisa. I know you like the Reinhardt Thor, but you might need to do it. Get rid of that, basically that bullet damage. But it looks like they are back, and it looks like that the DC was actually Havlar, which is unfortunate for the side of Ragnarok Thor. I believe their Baptiste was Havlar, so that's going to be Lucio. So
it was Lucio 1v1.
Yeah, so it's gonna be you're gonna have that speed a little bit late.
Yeah, and absolutely GG gets picked off by Seraph, who once again gets another boost. So Lucio going absolutely bananas. The Immortality Field is there, but it's not going to be enough, and that's another fight win at 40% in climbing. Sure, they were missing their Lucio, but that was a very clean collapse here from the side of Poseidon.
Yeah, it really was, and especially now Poseidon, they do have 2 ultimates, a third coming online with Pinecone Shatter. And the side of the Ragnarok Thor, the closest is going to be GG's May Freeze, as Havlar had to basically reset his beat back to 5% because of that DC.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is going to be what could be like really the momentum swinger, because now Ragnarok Thor, they have no ultimates online. Merf is going to be able to use the Amp Matrix to sort of pressure out the main rotation, but Ragnarok Thor, they have those 50 boosts they will be using to rotate around the other side. They'll be using the nice Maywall to sort of close out on, but a nice Shatter to call it through. The Blizzard is there to counter it out, but I don't believe it is able to catch anybody. Pinecone's able to take down Khajiit, and that is going to be the Baptiste down as well, but Thorcraft still up and available. Puts down the Shadow, is able to pick up 2. Foxard though in the Bastion, gonna be cleaning that one up, and this is once again a battle of the backlines. Foxard finds 2, and that's gonna be a fight reset there for the side of Poseidon.
Yeah, not to mention too, Seraph got the opening pick on Nat, booped him off the edge, again, and now we're heading to Ruins, another point that has that sort of outside force that you can boop around, so it's gonna be rough for the side of Ragnarok Thor to try to get this, especially Poseidon using this Bastion out right away.
Yeah, oh my goodness, look at the absolute DPS pressure coming in through. It's actually going to force out the cooldown, the freeze there from the enemy. May as nice Blizzard, and he's getting 1, but the Reinhardt shield is there to keep him alive as well as the Immortality Field. But it's not going to be enough. Pinecone and Fox are going to be taking down GG and Nat, both go down, and Poseidon have rallied their spirits. They've rallied their fighting spirit. They're going to be taking down Thorcraft here in just a second, and that is going to spell them getting the first capture at 14% and counting.
It really is, especially with the Baptiste and the Lucio dying last, being able to stagger them.
Oh no.
That's just a terrible stat if you're Ragnarok Thor. You have to die, try to die a little bit faster. But the one thing that's good for the side of Ragnarok Thor, they have full support outs up, whereas Poseidon, their closest is Pinecone Shatter at 74%. So they still have a little bit of time to try to get that online.
Yeah, nice freeze, gonna be splitting the team in half, but there's not gonna be really an opportunity to collapse on the side of Poseidon. Bastion turrets get traded out now as Pinecone's gonna be forced to retreat. The Amp Matrix is there also to force out the backline. Thorcraft goes in deep, not finding any picks there, but it is gonna be eventually that's gonna be the enemy Bastion down now, and it's gonna allow Thorcraft to get in as far as they want. Now Nat here on the enemy Bastion is going to be melting down Pinecone, and they have a barrage of their own. This should be a fight win here for the side of Ragnarok Thor. Poseidon has ultimates coming into this next fight, and they did get up to 99%, so this is last fight to get the second point.
Yeah, this really is. And like you said, Poseidon, they do have ultimates coming up, but so do Ragnarok Thor. They have the Shatter, have the Beat, and the Bastion ult, the Artillery Strike, and especially with areas that this tight, it couldn't be the difference between a win or a loss, especially if you're able to get a lot of damage coming off for now.
Thorcraft with the Shatter, we've seen it be absolutely massive. He's going to be meeting his Reinhardt counter, who also has the Shatter in hand. Time to go with Thorcraft. Whoever gets it down first is going to find the absolute value, and there it is. Thorcraft gets the better hammer, but the Sound Barriers get traded down for both teams. Granted, Ragnarok Thor was able to save theirs for last, but they're going to have the slight advantage. It is going to be Pinecone falling first. Thorcraft does get split off, not quite found though, and that's going to be oh, nice Blizzard though from Pip, able to pick up 3, and that's going to be able to pick up Pip in response to that Bastion, who is still alive and is still in that turret form, still has the support available to them to find the damage, and despite that massive freeze from Pip, there was still too much damage in too small of a hallway, and that's 87% counting. This is getting down to the last fight.
Yeah, that was a great play by Pip, even though they weren't able to capitalize it completely. They threw the freeze in and then ended up getting the stuff,
no,
but they
the
don't
boop.
touch. Poseidon does not touch, so Thor wins 3-0. Unfortunate for Poseidon, they end the stage 2 0-3, but Ragnarok Thor, they're 3-0 heading into the playoffs, I believe. As, of course, we have to watch this.
I mean, yeah, this was the play that nearly set off the rally, right? The thing that brought Poseidon's spirits back. They got so close to taking this map back. And this is just gonna be, I mean, look at that. Beautiful 4-man boop, despite losing the first 2 members. Mwah, mwah, mwah. And it would have been so poetic if Poseidon had won after that. But yeah, Ragnarok Thor was able to bounce that one back.
Yeah, it really was. Ragnarok Thor, they're heading to playoffs on a winning streak, 3-0. Can't really complain about it much. You stuck with your guns. You played it well. You also played something a little bit different with the ball comp. And, hey, you looked good on it, too. You didn't really... You had that little bit of fumble with Flashpoint, but nothing really too major that I think you can go back and you're like, hey, we're worried about this. But if you're Poseidon, you got to look back at it. You're like, hey, what can we change? What can we do differently? I talked with them beforehand. They're like, hey, we just got to be positive. They were down a few players. They've been having scheduling issues throughout the entirety of the season. It's just like... It's just been rough for us. It's like you got to take a look back and be like, hey, okay, we want to try to win in playoffs. Let's get this stuff down now.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest symptoms of low morale is the inability to change what you're doing. And Poseidon was forced to. They were on second point, down 75%. They said, we have to swap compositions or we're not going to get through this. And they did, and they found value, right? They were able to get that massive 4K boop. They know that they have the potential to really bring it to Ragnarok Thor and future teams going into the playoffs. But they have to keep that mentality up. They have to keep that spirit up and positive. And they are in an 0-3 losing streak, but I think as long as they're able to keep their heads in the game, we could see, I mean, if I could have seen more Poseidon as they were in Saravasa, I think this would have been a much closer series.
Yeah, it really would have. Saravasa, Poseidon was just like, it was also that one boop that sort of made that turn tide, and unfortunately it wasn't able to tide for a lot more, but going back to it, Ragnarok Thor, they look tough. They're going to be tough to beat in this playoffs, and I think a lot of teams are going to be looking at this team and be like, hey, obviously they play this one comp, but hey, they can start to switch a bit, and they're going to be, how do we beat that now, especially with changes to the different characters within the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And that does conclude the regular season for Tranquility. I believe this is season 11. Yes, it is. Excuse me. And that does conclude the regular season of season 11 for Tranquility. We're going to be going into the playoffs. It's going to be hosted at a LAN event in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Or Pennsylvania, Philadelphia. I don't know. Which one's the state? I don't remember. I'm dumb. Dumbcaster. Anyways, point is, be there or be square. I can't make it, unfortunately. I'm kind of sad, but I'm rooting for all the teams. Good luck. We'll be watching on Twitch. Yeah, Ragnarok Thor, they look strong. They look strong going into the playoffs. I can't wait to see more of them. That does basically conclude anything. Any closing thoughts, Karma?
No, I'm honestly, I'm excited to watch Ragnarok Thor throughout the playoffs. I think they're going to be a tough team to beat, especially with them playing that style. But Poseidon, it's going to be rough. Knowing some of the players on the team, I was rooting for them a bit. Knowing Merf scrimming against them multiple times, they're a tough team, and I know we've had our tough scrimmages against them. But falling 0-3, it's going to be rough. But hey, I think they can bounce back on it, and I think if there's any team too, I think Poseidon can.
All right. Well, that does conclude, as I mentioned before, the regular season, and that does conclude tonight's stream. My name is Merf. I was joined by Karma, and we will see you guys in the playoffs. Peace out.